Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Season 3 of Ship It and Sip It. I'm really happy to open 2023 with a very special guest, an in-person interview with Victoria Barouskaya. She is our partnership lead at Paralect, and I've talked with her before about a year and a half ago when she was just sort of getting into the flow of work at Paralect as a project manager. And today we're going to talk about how that's changed a year and a half later and what you're up to now. So how are you today?
I'm excited. Great to be back to Minsk office, to meet new people, to have, this kind of atmosphere like it was a year and a half ago. And it's a special honor and a bit of pressure to be your first guest for Season 3.
I'm really excited. I'm sure you'll do great. Since it is the first week of January, it would be remiss to not talk about resolutions a little bit. Do you love them, hate them, believe in them, follow them? How do you feel about resolutions?
Well, it's sure been a really great thing to start your year, but it's actually really hard to pull yourself together after the Christmas break, New Year's break, and, kind of the start of the year after, doing really hard job during 2022 as well. But still, I do love the kind of planning for the year, and I did something for this year too. It's not like something really, aspiring to, conquer the mountains or something like this, just to have something planned for myself, to know when I need to perform, where I need to perform, what I need to do. And just taking it easy, not to stress myself from the beginning of the year. I even actually read today that you need to start do all of your year plans from March, because basically during the winter you kind of sleeping, you're recovering from the previous year, you're recovering from the holidays, and so March is a perfect time to start.
So it's kind of like animals, like bears in the forest. They don't really do anything until they wake up in the spring.
Yeah, like not doing nothing, like 100%, but just taking it easy and step by step coming to your normal, condition. We're in spring.
yeah, I could see that. I could get down with that. Let's figure it out by March.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me. I guess in that vein of setting goals and things, do you put more emphasis on sort of professional objectives or personal, or just a mix of both?
I would say kind of the resolution for 2023 would be this really perfect mix between work and my personal life and my, let's say, activities, my hobbies. And of course, I have a lot of ideas what I can do better or like improve or, get more creative at work, of course. But I also have some personal plans, let's say, where I would like to go, what I would like to try new this year. And maybe, I don't know, something also connected to my out of work life.
All right. So we'll get into all of those things in today's show. But today we're actually recording this on your 2-year anniversary of joining Paralect. So congratulations.
Thank you.
It's been awesome to work with you over the past 2 years. Do you have any highlights or things that you've learned that you'd love to share?
Well, it's already 2 years. Well, I actually remember when I was coming to Paralect exactly 2 years ago from this day. And of course, I was different. This was just a girl with big eyes, thinking, everything is fun. I still think everything is fun, but now I kind of had some hardships and lessons learned throughout these 2 years while working as a project management and also with the new role as well. Well, the main highlight I would say is, first of all, of course, getting my first project, because this was actually my first project management role ever in life. And then I guess also every successful, actually all of the projects I've been running, they were successful. We don't have any other in Paralect, by the way. And like every closure or continuation of the project, this was also a very huge milestone for me as well as a person, because you're not only running the project, you're also meeting new teammates from Paralect, or you're meeting the founders or like project's teammates from their side. And actually with some of them, maybe with most of them, we're really in great terms till this moment. Even with some of them, we became really great peers, like friends. And this is what also really great, because you see them not just as your work guys that you're just seeing on your computer on Google Meetings while working, but also you know that there are really cool guys outside of work and you can chat with them, or you can also discuss some things going on, let's say, I don't know, in the community, in venture, in startups world. And it's also really cool. Well, I would also say that it's really cool. I've tried a lot of new things at Paralect during this time. Like, I've been trying to engage not only for project management things, but also, let's say, for, I don't know, something with product or with business analysis, or also with biz dev sales. Maybe this is how I appeared here now. And what else? We've also been to conferences a lot this year.
Talk about the conferences.
All right. So it was like a very huge milestone. Like after the, COVID and culture everywhere, it's really great to see that many people around you. And the next maybe milestone is me transferring from project management to business development, which was kind of not a really easy decision for me, because you're actually turning your life upside down then. And this is where we appear at the second year right now here. A lot was done in the past, and of course a lot is also planned for the future now. So maybe in the third year we will talk about what was accomplished during this my second year of work.
Sure, I'll be happy to have that conversation. But we should put a pause here and talk about what happened sort of in the last year, especially the last few months. You guys have started what is Kickstart. So let's start with the result, which is that, and work backwards from there into how it came to be. So kickstart.paralect.com is the landing page that was launched a few months ago.
Yep.
And there anybody can see a lot of cool things, and it is a collection of tools that we offer discounts and special programs for startups to use while they build and launch their MVP or the product here with us. So is that an accurate description? What would you add to that?
It's precise description. Like, I would just say that as if we had it right now, it's like, you can call it MVP, by the way, just because we're having only the kind of benefits and discounts from our partners. But ideally, this was planned as a kind of gateway or like, I don't know, platform helper to kickstart actually the launch of startups for the founders. Because basically, I assume that first two main steps for them while launching their own venture is, first of all, of course, to start, and they not always know where to do it. And let's say also what we see throughout our work is that they do not usually have enough resources for this, especially money. And that's why such kind of special benefits or, free credits that the partners can give to them, or let's say discounts that also they can provide, is something really helpful for the founders in their very first steps. And the next thing that I'm currently working on with also Paralect team is making it as a community where the founders can also get access to kind of investors network. Because basically once they launched, or let's say they validate their idea, they like 99% they want to go to fundraise money. And that's why this is also where they have some obstacles. And that's why we also would like to support them on this step. So basically this would be kind of the platform where you can get help on your first step, and very complex one, where to launch it, and the next one, where to fundraise. So that's where we work right now.
Sounds amazing. And I guess we'll just sum up what's there at the moment, because I assume it's still growing. So there's around $130,000 worth of discount.
It's already $150,000.
Already 150.
Yep.
All right. Awesome. So I guess how did you pull this together, and what are some of the highlighted tools or programs that are there that you'd like to tell founders about?
First of all, long story short, I started kind of doing all of these partnerships just to, offer as an added value to our founders who already work with us, or let's say who we're trying to take on board with us. Because first of all, we've been trying to gather the tools that we especially work while launching or working with founders and startups at Paralect. And that's why we kind of gather this backlog of tools and services that we use. And that's how I just started to kind of, research what they can offer to us, or do they even offer something. And then I just realized that most of them are really helping to the early stage startups, or let's say like all of them have their requirements, but still they are eagerly helping them. And that's why I just decided why not to hop on this and be kind of the Parlact. They call it accelerator or venture studio or no matter what. They just helping you to get the special offers for your portfolio companies, or let's say for the companies you would like to be referred. And this is how we started to grow this pool of benefits for us.
Yeah, and it sounds like a really sort of, I don't know, synchronistic situation where a lot of these tools, I mean, there's Notion, there's Mixpanel, there's a lot of big name tools that founders will be maybe familiar with, maybe have heard of before. And a lot of them already have sort of discounts for startups. So theoretically, the founder could say, I want to use this tool and I just need to apply and blah, blah, blah. But what you've done is really curated them into, this is what our teams already know how to work with very quickly and they're very familiar with. And it's also a way that the founder doesn't have to waste time sort of figuring it out themselves. If they work with us, they basically get all of these things that they need anyway. And it makes a lot of sense because there's this sort of funding crunch right now. So founders are sort of really eager for ways to extend runway. So free tools is one great way to... Is that how founders have received it? What's the feedback been like?
Actually, I don't know why, but as far as I see, a lot of our portfolio current projects, they started to apply by the end of the year to different kinds of tools. And this is actually really beneficial for them because they would anyway use those tools that we are kind of offering to them. But now they're getting the discount for it. So basically we're saving those money that, let's say, from the very beginning, they're really, kind of careful to spend to somewhere. So I would say, the feedback is absolutely positive, and I usually get the feedback from product managers like, hey, do we have it in our portfolio? And I'm like, no, not yet. I'm still working on it or something like this. So this is how I see this feedback from, like first users of it, that they need it, they use it, the founders love it. And this is also how I realize who we need to also onboard to our, kind of network of partners as well.
Cool. Let's dig in a little bit to the process that you've gone through to onboard all these partners, because there's some wonderful ones there. And for a long time, we've wanted to sort of build out this partnership network, but you were the one that really made it happen. So tell us about that. How do you connect with the right people with these companies? How do you sort of curate which ones to use or which ones to approach? And maybe what are you looking at as gaps in what's there now? What are you chasing after?
So starting first, who I wanted to, let's say, contact first, I would say my project management experience helped me here a lot because I was also working directly with founders and with our teams. And I know what tools and services, let's say, we use for any kind of project. And that's how I started to gather this backlog of, let's say, names that I would like to see firsthand there, and just started to outreach them. I just opened their landing pages. I know that they have some kind of always like sales or partnerships names there. What was also really easy for me, and what I discovered during this process of partnering with them, is that usually big names, let's say like MongoDB or DigitalOcean, they have their startup programs that already have this kind of batch of benefits that they gathered for the startups, and it's easier for them, let's say, to offer us something kind of exclusive only for our portfolio companies. So and it's why like you usually fill in the information about Parlact, about the projects we have. You of course always motivate, like do this motivation about why you would like to apply there, why do you want to become a part of their community. And then we either have a call with someone responsible for the partnerships in the company, or you are just being, let's say, answered by the email like, hey guys, congrats, you've been selected for the program.
Super. Are there any that you're working on now, any that are sort of in the pipeline to be added to the program soon?
Yep, actually there are like 3 of them right now. I think we decided to have one more call in January, actually, just after all of the holidays. And I think, can I say the names right now, or is it like Okay, so yeah, we are working currently with Crisp chats. We are working with Vercel and with Apollo. So this is the call that I still need to make to finally know the answer.
Super. I guess, are there any other benefits besides the ones we already talked about, which would be saving money and sort of the team's familiarity with the tools? What other benefits do you see for the founders to the Kickstart program?
So basically, it's also the community. Of course, it's not like a lot of founders right now there, but so it's going to be a community of like-minded people as well. They can share their ideas, or let's say, I don't know, maybe they can also make a synergy somewhere and make their own project as well together. It's also, as I said, the Kickstarter is going to be expanded. It's going to be not only the benefits as discounts and free credits for them, not only even the investors network for them, but also we're planning to include there some kind of maybe services, like partners with services that, let's say, we do not provide in Paralect, let's say like full-fledged marketing for them, because this is what we do for our project, but maybe as an added value, not as a, main service for them. And so we're still thinking about some ways also to expand this value for them. And I think this is something I'm going to work in 2023 for Kickstart.
I look forward to seeing it expand, and I'm sure it will become more and more valuable for founders as you keep continuing on this path. How do we plan to let more founders know about this? Because so far we've been a little bit coy, a little bit quiet about Kickstart. So what are your thoughts around getting more people aware that we have this?
We definitely need to make more announcement in social media right now, I think, but I'm kind of shifted my focus right now from Kickstart, but of course I'm going to be back there next week probably, because we're having a new year and I kind of finished my task that I needed to finish before the end of the year. And I think me leading this process and let's say taking also magician guys from Paralect who's going to help me with the promotion. We're going to brainstorm how to make it more public than right now.
And we can talk about it on the show.
Yeah.
So that's step one. All right. Anything else you'd like to share about Kickstart before we move on to our next section?
Actually, you already have a perfect opportunity to join Kickstart for free because we're still testing it and you can be kind of the among first users using it, actually. Can we insert the promo code for this here?
Yeah.
Great. So promo code is going to be here. Please join Kickstart.
Can you say it too? Because some people only listen to the podcast.
I actually wanted to create it for Ship It and Sip It especially.
Okay.
Can we cut it? Okay, it could be Ship 23.
Ship 23.
What kind of name would you like to create it? Actually, I wasn't thinking about it.
Let's do Ship It 2023.
Okay, so the code is going to be here. It's going to be Ship It 2023. So it's going to give you free access. And please join Kickstart.
Go check out kickstart.paralect.com, enter the promo code SHIPIT2023 and join the community that Vic is building there. And good luck to everyone this year building their startups. All right, on to quick questions. We'll take a little break from the serious work stuff and get to know you a little bit. What is your favorite takeaway or delivery food category or item?
It's sushi or croissants.
What's one app on your phone that you would like to use less in 2023?
Instagram.
Why?
Because I'm not having TikTok, and as my friends like to say, I'm like an old lady watching all of the TikToks on Instagram. But I know if I download it, I'm going to spend even more time there. Yeah. Of course, it's not just, kind of no-brainer videos or reels that I'm watching there, but, it's dragging you there. You just lose the time.
So you want to use Instagram less because you're afraid that it's dragging you towards TikTok?
No, it's just dragging me, it's wasting my time. I know it's like, no. Okay. I even have this limit in my phone for 30 minutes, but I always skip it.
For me, it's Twitter. I don't know. Twitter is just much more sad and terrible news about the world usually. And then the other subset is like startup people.
Well, actually, I wanted to jump on this Twitter road this year too, because it's actually really a great platform to, engage with community and also, I don't know, to meet new people and to meet new founders as well. But I'm not using it. Somehow it's kind of, I don't know, complex for me.
I don't think you're missing very much. It's gotten a lot worse since the rocket guy took over. So
Okay.
that's my opinion. Don't hate me, Tesla bros. All right. Next up, a place you'd like to work remotely from for 1 or 2 months in the near future. Could be 2023, could be anytime.
Well, I'm back to our main office today, and that's why I've been thinking, wow, it's really great to be back here. It's like as if, I was here always, but I actually really miss this place a lot because this is basically the place where you work. It's not your home, not your, I don't know, kitchen or any other room in the apartment that you work from. And apart from this, maybe I'm thinking of something, I don't know, fancy. Maybe it could be Italy, some kind of small picturesque village, and hiking and going to the bakeries and talking Italian and meeting founders from there, because I've been meeting actually a lot of people from Italian startup ecosystem, and they seem really engaging and really exciting. So that's why, I would say Italy as well, small village in Italy.
Cool. I don't remember if we've had any Italian teams or founders.
No, not yet.
Well, there you go. The opportunity is there. Well, good luck with that. I know you're studying Italian this term. Yeah. Maybe you'll make that dream come true. Speaking of meeting founders and sort of building community, let's talk a little bit about the conferences you went to last year, because that was a new thing for you. And it was also, as you mentioned, sort of post-COVID, finally get to be sort of face-to-face with large groups of people feels nice, I'm sure. So, where did you go, and what were some highlights from it?
So me personally, I was attending 2 conferences this year. First one was in June in Berlin, actually, not really far away from me. And the second one was in Lisbon. It was Web Summit. And this was also a really new experience for me in terms of being a project manager this time, and then partnership lead by the time of Lisbon. And of course, I was visiting them before Parlact as well, but even after COVID, this feels actually kind of new as well, because you actually get used to being more, online, meeting people only, e-meeting as people call it right now. And then when you see a lot of people going around you, they are all like-minded, and you're like, wow, we're all real, we can talk in person, we can meet somewhere, we can chat, we can walk. And you can also listen to the speakers that come to attend also the conference. It's really great. And Hub Berlin in June was, of course, smaller than Web Summit, because Web Summit is I think it's the largest tech conference in the world.
It's like its own city. I don't even know.
Yeah, it's like the conference.
But I haven't been there, so you tell
Yeah,
me
it's actually true. Like the whole Lisbon turns into the conference itself, because I think second or third day of conference out of 4 was a total mess, I would say. They even stopped the subway. The taxis were really hard to catch. But anyways, this was all worth it, because the concentration of founders, of investors, of famous people from the network, from the community, like venture community, is so huge, and that you can see them I don't know, like I see you right now. It's really awesome and so exciting. And it also was a new possibility for us to meet new founders, also for our portfolio, or let's say to meet those investors that we also can work together to help our portfolio companies as well. And still it's broadening your horizons. Nothing can compare with this real face-to-face meetings with people. It's not your video meetings.
Yeah, for sure. And so what were some of the results or key takeaways you had from either of those conferences?
So I would say we've met a lot of investors that we're currently working on, and we can refer our portfolio products to them as well. It's, I would say, harder, like a little insight from me, just my opinion maybe. It's a little harder to attract founders from these conferences, because as we see, most of them are already coming either for fundraising or either for, kind of meeting their clients. And let's say they rarely need a team expansion, or let's say companies who can help them with. And anyways, it's also really great to see and to be the first testers of their applications, for, let's say, or the products. And that's why it's still harder for us to attract someone, but from Web Summit, we've brought a new project for us, Victoria, another Victoria Antonovich. She did a really great job, and that's why we're having currently a new product.
Pre-Med Go.
Yeah, from Pre-Med Go, right.
Yeah, it's a really cool product and a really cool idea. It's a health tech app and platform for the UK market. What was that meeting like? How did you guys connect with them?
A huge help here is the applications that they usually build for such events. And basically you see all of the people who are attending there of different roles. Let's say it could be either the general attendee, or let's say it could be the investor or the speaker or the founder itself. And let's say you can just choose the person or people, or I don't know, bunch of people who you would like to talk to in conference, or let's say before it. And you're just texting them. It's like a usual social network that you're going to use, let's say 2 weeks before and 2 weeks after the conference, and then forget until the next conference is taking place.
I had a question there about the types of founders you mentioned that usually go to these bigger conferences like Web Summit. It seems like they already have a product, or they don't need team expansion. They're there to find investors more. Is that kind of how I understand it? Has that shifted our focus on events going forward? Are there events that are more tailored towards like really early stage, idea stage founders that we tend to serve?
Yeah, I think so. Let's say, for example, if we're targeting the early stage startups, well, when it comes to Web Summit in Lisbon, you sure thing can find such startups as well. But like in 70,000 people attending the conference, it's like... So anyways, we can target the startups, let's say, that are eager to scale, let's say, after they fundraise. Because basically what we also see, they can have some money for their MVP. They burn it all to, let's say, validate it, to create the marketing, and let's say to launch the application itself. And then they're coming to fundraise and then try to scale the application more. And maybe this is where we can also help them. Or maybe we can also suggest them having Kickstart to join and to see maybe someone from the Investors Network can help them.
Right on. And I guess the last question about events. What do you have planned for this year? Do you have any lined up that you're planning to attend, or you're going to with Kate and Vika?
Frankly speaking, we haven't given it a thought yet, but maybe still, as we've been visiting Web Summit in Lisbon, they're going to have Web Summit, I think in May or somewhere in spring in Rio.
Yeah, I heard they're moving to Brazil.
Yeah, but I think they're still going to have it in Lisbon, but in autumn as well. So it's could be twice a year, but I'm not sure. I'm not gonna lie here.
Can't be two summits. Well, I guess okay.
So yeah, that's why what we also discussed with Kate today, maybe we need to go there. We just need to negotiate it more. And yeah, of course, to gather up all of the events that we would like to visit this year. It's just January 4th.
Yeah, for sure. Did you have any insights about sort of the size of the events? Do you think that the events of the caliber of Web Summit are more beneficial for you guys to go to, or the one in the Bitzen?
Hub Berlin.
Hub Berlin.
Yeah.
Was quite a bit smaller. Maybe you have some ideas there. Is it better to target bigger ones or smaller ones?
I think it depends. I think I felt comfortable in both of them because, let's say, when it's smaller, like Hub Berlin, you can, contact and interact with people easily, more easier than in Web Summit, because, it's like 80,000 people. and a lot of people are trying to contact you via the application. And you see just the crowds of people wandering around the, kind of venues during the Web Summit itself. And that's why it could be harder than Hub Berlin, let's say. But when the conference is as big as a Web Summit, it's, let's say, more opportunities for you to find something that you are personally looking for. So it's like, it's good and bad for both of sizes of the conferences.
I guess I do have more questions about events. I wonder if you saw other sort of agencies there that you thought would be a good model or had some good ideas for how we might be able to expand our presence at events like this. Do we need a booth? Do we need our own marketing setup? Do we need to have more presence, or is it enough for just a couple people from your team to go and sort of network via the app?
I think, for example, in Web Summit, we saw some companies that could be of a similar, let's say, mindset that we have in Perlect. And they even had their own booths there. Let's say the founders themselves or the investors, let's say any attendee could go there and talk to people who are representing the company. And as far as I know, this is real for us as well, but this can take time, and this is a really long process because, a lot of people would like to go on there. Of course, having just a couple of people is not enough. But I would say it's just up to you always how to position yourself during the conference. Let's say you need to be as creative as you could be, even beyond it. Let's say you can wear something bright there, because a lot of people are going on it. I don't know, you just mix them with the rest of the crowd. And let's say actually Vika was having a really, really kind of fancy jacket. And people were coming to her and just asking, wow, what a cool jacket. Where did you get it? And I think this is what brings attention to you. I don't know, maybe we can also make this fancy, fun, cool, merch for us as well to be just noticeable by people. And just attract their attention.
Sounds good. Sounds like we have some opportunities to expand those event marketing tactics, I guess. All right. So during that last year, you went to 2 events. The first event, you were there as a representative of sort of project management. The second event, you were already in your new role as partnership lead. So can you tell us a little bit about that transition? What sort of made you willing to make that jump and step away from project management? Because you had really you had about a year as a project manager by that point, or a little bit more?
Year and a half, maybe a bit.
So you're just sort of getting comfortable maybe in the role, sort of mastering it a little bit, and you decided to step away. What was that about?
As I mentioned, maybe from the very beginning, Paralect gives you opportunity to test any hypothesis you have or you would like to test during your work. And this is maybe how I started to be engaged more in sales or business development processes, especially while working on the pre-sale process. And I think more and more I just started to be engaged in business development. I started to work closely with our current business developers. And at a certain point, I think the team, or maybe myself, I also realized that I'm ready to go with the colleagues to Hub Berlin as let's say, also a sales or business development representative. And after this, I started working with partnerships, and this was maybe the turning point for me to jump from project management to partnerships and to business development.
Cool. So you didn't burn out on project management or anything like that?
Well, I think it wasn't a really easy decision for me. I would say even that maybe one of the points why I decided to make this change is that, as you said, I started to feel comfortable in this, and I'm the person who really likes challenges. Of course, we had some kinds of ups and downs in the projects. It's a process. It usually happens during the work, but maybe challenges appear to be less, and that's why I decided to jump into a totally new thing for me. And this is how I appeared in business development.
Yeah. Well, very cool. And I'm sure you'll continue to thrive in this. Speaking of your personality, one of our teammates described you as so smart, but she is too shy, and she brought us tons of creativity. I don't know if I agree completely with the shy part, but I agree with the rest. Do you consider yourself shy? And if yes, what were some of sort of the coping skills or ways that you overcame that at these very public events?
So I think I could be shy, but I'm trying not to show it to people because at the end of the day, no one wants to see your shyness and talk to a shy person. Like, what's the point of this? And when it's at the conferences or at the calls with people who you would like to attract on board with Paralect, once you're starting to talk with them, you just forget about this shyness because you know that you need to perform, you need to talk to them, you need to tell really great things that we know with you, what is Paralect, and we would like to communicate it to them as well. And I would also say I could be shy in terms of the things that are unknown to me, let's say when it's business development. And when I started to have my first calls with the founders, I was like, wow, I've been doing this only when I was having my own projects as a project manager, and they already know about Paralect. And now I'm having a call with completely stranger, telling the truth. But I'm getting used to it, so yeah.
So let's dig into that a little bit. If you have sort of that new challenge in work, how do you find answers to get more comfortable with it? Are you someone who goes to a colleague to ask for advice? Do you call a friend? Do you Google? Do you read, find an online course with an ebook? How do you sort of solve this?
Well, when there is something that I still don't know, let's say it's just the knowledge that I need to learn, I just Google it, I ask the colleagues if needed, because also I don't want to distract them with every question popping up in my head. And let's say first thing when I'm trying to be shy, or let's say when a person can be shy, it's just when you are, I don't know, it's just the first false emotion that you are getting, and it's not really good. So that's why I'm just trying to calm myself, and I just say that, hey, it's nothing really hard for you. Just go Google it or ask someone, or just think, just brainstorm the ideas, what you can do for this, or even what you can do that no one else can do. And this is where you get the really great results.
Super. And I just have one more question about sort of the transition into pre-sales and sales and business development. Were there certain skills or experiences that you brought from being a project manager into that process that were particularly helpful?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, as I said, as a project manager, you dig more into how the projects work, what they use, how they use it, what's the workflow for either developers or designers or for the rest of the teammates. And while, let's say, having these calls with the founders, they, of course, ask you such questions that are really precise and detailed to start or to launch or to continue the project. And this is where I can easily answer them. I don't need to, let's say, contact any of my colleagues to help me with. Or let's say once I'm launching this pre-sale process, I am also able to manage it myself sometimes when I have time. And of course, also to advise something on the spot to the founder, what could be improved in his project, or let's say when he has some assumptions or hypotheses, we can just brainstorm it together with him, because while working as a project manager, and I gained such expertise as well.
All right, those are all the questions I have for you today. Thank you so much for coming on. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with the founders or the viewers and the listeners of Ship It and Sip It?
Just have a really great year. Don't hesitate to start your venture. It's going to be a really rough path, but you're going to make it. If you need any help, you can just contact us at Paralect, and we're going to help you with anything you can have.
That's right. Get in touch with Vika and the team, and they will make your dreams come true, right?
Right.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Episode
Cheers for the 2023.
Yeah, cheers. Happy New Year, everybody.